Hello, and welcome to The Feature, a podcast presented by Texas A&M Keensville's Features and Special Articles class. I am your host, Ricardo Martinez. In today's podcast, I will be telling the story of the Garzas, who both happen to be alumni and faculty here at TAMUK. In this heartwarming story, we will read the journey the Garzas took to reach their goal of starting a family through the power of adoption. Enjoy. The natural need for a family dwells within every human being. This stood true for the Garzas. Both South Texas natives and Texas A&M University Keensville or TAMUK alumni, Dr. Rolando Garza and Dr. Araceli Garza, who both currently work for TAMUK. Araceli has been an academic advisor for over 12 years, and Rolando is the interim director of distance learning and has been employed by TAMUK for over 8 years. The Garzas were a match made in heaven, meeting in their sociology class in 2002 while undergrads at TAMUK. In 2006, they decided to tie the knot. The obvious next step after marriage was to start a family. After 5 years of trying natural childbearing and considering fertility medications, which Rolando stated are very expensive, the Garzas decided to look into adoption. It was in November of 2011 that the Garzas began considering adoption, which is coincidentally National Adoption Month. During the month of November, adoption information sessions are held. In these sessions, different adoption agencies meet at a location and give information to anyone considering adoption. It was in 2011 when the Garzas attended their first adoption information meeting, but it was not until 2016 that the Garzas became serious about starting the adoption process. Of all the adoption agencies, the Garzas decided to go with Spalding Adoption Agency, which has since changed their name to Arms Wide Adoption Services. This company primarily serves South Texas. The choice to pick this agency came from meeting one of their caseworkers, named Michelle Lopez. Michelle was the one the Garzas had met in 2011, so the fact that she was still there 5 years later told of her experience and thoughtfulness in the field of adoption. Once the mountain of paperwork was complete, which Rolando said is the most stressful part, it was time to attend a picnic. A picnic in the adoption world is when all children who are up for adoption meet at a designated location with all the families who are looking into adoption. Having all the children around and being able to decide which ones you are interested in, as if in a car dealership, was a bit awkward, Araceli stated. At the first two picnics, there was no luck for the Garzas. It was not until they received a phone call about a group of 4 siblings from Bastrop, Texas, that the ball really got moving. Initially, the Garzas only considered adopting 2 children, but they did not hesitate to look into this group of 4. The caseworker let the Garzas know that this group of siblings were well-rounded, which means they did not have any major physical, psychological, or mental trauma. Many children who are up for adoption have at least one or more of these issues. Although from Bastrop, Texas, the children were actually in Gregory, Portland, Texas, with their foster parents, only an hour from where the Garzas lived. With most of the paperwork completed, it was time to meet the children. The Garzas and their adoption caseworker, Michelle, loaded up and headed towards Gregory, Portland. Prior to meeting the children, the Garzas had sent each of the 4 children a photo album of pictures that included the Garzas and their families, their home, offices, and pets. This helped the children get mentally prepared to meet their potential mom and dad. Once the children were picked up, the Garzas gave them a fun-filled day that included Whataburger by the Bay, Build-A-Bear Workshop, and lastly, some ice cream at the La Palmera Mall. It was the Garzas' first taste of parenthood, and oh, was it sweet. After only a couple of more visits, it was moving in day. The whole adoption process flew by, as Araceli stated. We were lucky. Our adoption process was fast-paced due to Hurricane Harvey. They wanted the children to be with their forever homes as quick as possible. When asked how long it took for the children to call the Garzas mom and dad, Araceli stated, immediately. The children quickly assigned Araceli and Rolando as mom and dad. 6 months had passed, and although the Garza family had quickly adjusted to their new lives as a family, it was not official, yet. The adoption agency gives 6 months for both parents and agency to make sure the decision of adoption was a good one. The day was March 29th, 2018. It was time to go before a judge and officially make the children Garzas. Such a joyous occasion with family and friends. This milestone in the Garza's life was almost complete. Finally, after the long staking process, it was official. The Garzas were parents, and the children finally had a place to call home. Today, nearly 2 years later, the family is as happy as ever. Zach, the oldest, is in 7th grade and loves reading and writing. He is the smarty of the bunch. Zoe, the second oldest, is in 4th grade and is quite the chatterbox. She also enjoys makeup and baking. Zane, the third oldest, is in 2nd grade and, as his mom describes him, the typical macho man. He is adventurous and stubborn. Last, but certainly not least, is little Zadie, who is in kinder. She's a mix of both girly girl and tomboy. She loves to play pretend and has a big imagination. When asked about the possibility of adopting more children, Araceli says she thinks they're done, but Rolando has other plans. Their advice to anyone who wants or is thinking about adopting is to do your research, and as Rolando says, pray. Everyone needs a little bit of faith. For more information about adoption, please visit www.armswideadoption.org. That concludes our podcast for today. In this story, we learned family is not only based on blood relation, but also by actions and love. Thanks for listening to The Feature. Till next time, I'm Ricardo Martinez. Stay safe.